sir. Anyone else? Got one more. All right. Good stuff. All right. Good work, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Governor, we hit the streets today to actually give a civics test, and I can tell you that most people we interviewed completely failed the test and couldn't answer basic questions. What is the difference between the bills you signed and what's currently being offered in school?
Well, so before I became governor, we didn't even have the high school requirement. We put that in there. This expands that. So, for example, you obviously, and then there's going to be developed a curriculum through DOE, which is going to have all these important things required. We're expanding it also to do the comparative look between American principles and communist and totalitarian regimes. And so, my view is like, okay, if you're doing this for a semester, right, let's do it in a way that inspires people. Let's focus on like the handful of really key things that we want every single person to know. There's some stuff you get mired in the details about, like, some piece of legislation in like 1890. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't learn that, but I mean these foundational things. Why did the founding fathers seek independence? What were the principles that were different between Great Britain and the United States in terms of how they were doing it, or other countries, particularly in Europe? Where did power come from? Who ultimately has power? We believe power comes from our Creator to the people, not to the government. We, the people, create a constitution with the power that's our natural rights. How did the Bill of Rights come into existence? What were some of the issues that led to things like the Civil War? What were the stakes in World War II? What about the Cold War? So there's all these different things. Understanding the Bill of Rights, understanding other key amendments to the Constitution, understanding some differences between federal and state constitutions and how those are done. So there's all these different things that I think are fundamental. We're emphasizing this. We think this is very important, and I think these are going a long way to further. We're also going to have some other announcements over the next couple of weeks. We're going to do even more with respects to the civics component, and particularly helping not just our civics teachers and providing bonuses if they go through some of the programs that we're asking for continuing education, but really civics is something that can be important in all kinds of different subjects. I mean, English, it could be important. If you're reading literature, particularly if it's about the American experience. So there's a whole bunch of things that I think we want to do. And ultimately, these kids will probably all do different pathways in life. But, if you're somebody that's working in a skilled trade, somebody that becomes a physician, a banker, who knows? All of those people are going to be citizens. They're all going to be part of making sure that our country is able to preserve the freedoms that we possess. So I think this is something that's really important. In the legislature, I mean, these bills got pretty, by and large, big support. The intellectual diversity one had some dissent in both chambers, but I think that's unfortunate. But I think by and large, we've got a lot of good support for this stuff.
Governor, I'd like to ask a question of Commissioner Corcoran.
Sure.
While I have him. Hi, you sent a letter to a local principal telling her that you found probable cause to sanction her for paddling a first grade girl. That could mean she could lose her educator's certificate. What went into your decision?
Those are pending cases, and so we're really not allowed to talk about pending cases. Basically, the letter that I sent that outlined what's possible as far as discipline and what were the concerns is all I can talk about at this time.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the aggressive action you've taken towards any school official that may have threatened that trust that parents have in the school system in general?
Well, and that violation can take place in many ways. I mean, obviously, I think if you look over the last 2.5 years under Governor DeSantis' leadership, we've been whether it's a violation of indoctrination, we've dealt with that very harshly. Obviously, any kind of even a perception that's also based in law of improprieties in touching or whatever, all of those things, we've escalated all of our punishments over the last 2.5 years to make sure that our classrooms are 100% safe physically, safe emotionally, and safe intellectually.
And I just the final thing I'll just say with the debate, I think it's really good that you guys are doing this. What I found is you can tell people that have not gone through that, then they end up in like a university where everyone has the same ideology and they do. And so they're never challenged on anything. they don't really know how to make the case because they just assume everyone agrees with them. And particularly in an era that we live in where, on social media, corporate media, a lot of these big corporations that have news divisions, they do narratives and they do partisan advocacy, basically. They're not really wedded to the facts. And I just think it's important to say, okay, we're debating issues. In order to debate somebody effectively, you got to have a grasp on the facts. You got to be able to show why your perspective is better. You can't just say your perspective is better because everyone in like a college faculty agrees with you. I mean, who cares? So I think you're learning thinking skills and reasoning ability that has kind of become a lost art in many schools across the country, and particularly, I think, on a lot of university campuses. And so these students who go through our debate initiative, I think by the time they get to the universities, if they're in a Florida university, we're going to have diversity of opinions. Some of these other ones you may not have as much, but I think you're going to have a sharper mind, and I think you're going to be in a situation where as things come up, you're going to scrutinize people's claims. You're not just going to accept kind of what they say on an ideological basis. You'll really want to see whether they're marshaling facts and whether their logic and reasoning is compelling. And I think that it's really good. So we had a lot of success with this already, and we're glad that we did it, and we're going to continue to do more. So congratulations, guys. All right.